For as long as I can remember, there's been this one magic number for retirement, $1 million. It's the goal, right? The golden ticket that's supposed to guarantee a life of comfort and freedom. But what if I told you that chasing that magic number isn't just a little outdated? What if it's actually one of the most dangerous financial myths out there today?
So that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Is $1 million really enough to retire on? Well, the short answer, it's a big fat probably not. For most people, relying on this old one-size-fits-all number could be setting you up for a massive disappointment down the road. Why? Because the world that created that rule just doesn't exist anymore.
Let's get real for a second. Check this out. A recent analysis found that in a state like Michigan, that $1 million nest egg, it could be totally wiped out in just 21 years. 21 years. All of a sudden, that magic number doesn't feel so magical, does it? So, what is going on here? Why is this old benchmark failing so many of us?
The reality is, your retirement savings are getting hit with this devastating one-two punch that the old $1 million rule completely ignores. These are powerful forces that are quietly working against your money, day in and day out. And understanding them is absolutely the first step to building a financial plan that can actually go the distance.
Okay, punch number 1, inflation. I like to call it the silent thief of your retirement dreams. Think about it this way. Assuming a pretty normal 3% average inflation rate, that cool $1 million you have today will only have the buying power of about $411,000 in 30 years. You've lost nearly 60% of your wealth just by standing still. It's wild.
And punch number 2? Well, it's kind of a good problem to have, but it's still a huge problem for your money. We're living way longer. A 65-year-old couple today has a 50% chance, a 50-50 shot, that one of them will live into their 90s. So retirement isn't some 15-year victory lap anymore. We're talking about a 30, maybe even 40-year marathon that your money has to survive.
But it's not just those two things. There's this other hidden danger, and it's called sequence of returns risk. Now, that sounds complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's all about bad timing. Imagine this. You finally retire, and boom, the market tanks in your first year or two. That's catastrophic. Why? Because you're forced to sell your investments at rock-bottom prices just to pay the bills, and that can permanently wreck your portfolio's chances of ever bouncing back.
So, if the old way is broken, what's the solution? Well, we have to completely flip the script. We need a huge mindset shift. The goal should not be to just pile up a giant mountain of cash. No, the real goal, the smart goal, is to build a reliable, spendable income stream, like a personal paycheck that hits your bank account every single month, no matter what the stock market is doing. This right here is the most important change in thinking you can make.
I love this quote because it just cuts right to the chase. You can't go to the grocery store and pay with shares of your 401k, right? You need cash. A big number on your statement feels nice, sure, but true financial security, that comes from knowing you have reliable income coming in month after month.
Let me paint a picture for you, the money room analogy. Okay, scenario A. You're sitting in a room with $1 million in gold coins, but every time you pay a bill, you have to watch that pile get smaller and smaller. Talk about stressful. Now, scenario B, you've got a smaller pile, say $500,000, but you set up this awesome system where a guaranteed paycheck comes in every month to cover all your expenses. You barely even have to touch the main pile. So which retirement lets you actually sleep at night?
All right, so we've officially busted the $1 million myth. Now for the fun part. Let's build a new blueprint. It's time to stop worrying about some random magic number and start focusing on a few real, actionable steps you can take to build a plan that actually works in today's world.
And it all starts with just getting clear. I mean, you can't build a retirement paycheck if you have no idea how big that check needs to be, right? So step 1 is simple. Separate your expenses. You've got your needs, the must-haves like your house, food, insurance, and then you've got your wants, all the fun stuff like travel, hobbies, you name it. This one exercise, this is what gives you your real target. Next up, you got to understand that your spending isn't going to be flat. It changes. A really smart plan accounts for the 3 phases of retirement. First, you've got the go-go years. You're active, you're traveling, you're spending more. Then come the slow-go years, where you kind of settle down a bit. And finally, the no-go years, where your spending often shifts more towards healthcare. Your plan has to be flexible enough for all 3.
Okay, step 3. You've got to fuel the engine, right? So let's talk smart saving tactics. These are the non-negotiables. First, whatever you do, get your full company 401k match. It's free money. Don't leave it on the table. Second, automate everything. Set it and forget it. If you're over 50, use those catch-up contributions. They're a huge boost. And the big rule of thumb, aim to save 10 to 15% of your income consistently. Do that and you are on a great path.
And this is where things get really exciting. There's this amazing tipping point you'll reach. Eventually, your portfolio gets big enough that the money your investments make starts to dwarf the new money you're saving. Think about it, a 10% return on $1 million portfolio, that's $100,000 in growth. That 1 year of growth could be 3, maybe 4 times what you're able to save from your paycheck. This is when having a truly smart investment strategy becomes everything.
So, let's recap. We've busted the myth. We've shifted our focus to income. We've looked at the building blocks for a modern plan. But here's the thing. None of these little pieces matter if you don't bring them all together. You need a single, concrete, written-down plan for your future.
So this is it. This is that moment where you go from just learning about this stuff to actually doing something about it. Are you ready to build a plan that's not based on some outdated myth, but on your life, your goals, a plan that gives you real, genuine confidence?
Look, to do that, you need a roadmap, a guide. And honestly, that's exactly why Professor Anant Singh created the Financial Literacy Foundation course. It's a complete system designed to give you the exact tools you need to build, grow, and protect your wealth for the long haul. There are modules in there like the Paycheck Maximizer method and the Freedom Withdrawal that are literally built to help you put these income-focused ideas into practice. It's how you take everything we just talked about and make it your reality.
And you know, at the end of the day, we have to remember what this is all about. This quote just says it perfectly. It's not about winning some game or dying with the biggest pile of cash. It's about using your money as a tool to live the best, most fulfilling life you possibly can. So I'll leave you with this. What does a life well lived look like for you? And what's the first step you're going to take to build a financial plan that makes it happen?